In a world filled with noise and uncertainty, tune into the Voice of Reason with Chaplain Ingrid Gentles every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for uplifting conversations, inspiring stories, and biblical insights that will empower you to navigate life challenges with faith and confidence, where faith meets reality. Join the conversation on HGG Radio, live on YouTube, and social media. Don't miss it.
And you are tuned into the Voice of Reason. My name is Chaplain Ingrid Gentles, and I am your host for today. Yes, I am. Our topic for today is a woman is packaged uniquely based on the calling on her life. I'm going to repeat that again. A woman is packaged uniquely based on the calling on her life. That is correct. Now, before we just move on, recently I did a show on unorthodox dating practice. And, we talked about how the roles between a husband and a wife or a man and a woman have changed. When I use husband and wife, I always say man and a woman, because things have changed today where a husband and a wife can look a little bit different. I'm talking biblically, right? A husband and a wife, a man and a woman, how the roles have changed between them. Now let's talk about the way a woman was designed in general. A woman was taken out of man and made for man. Genesis 2 verse 18. A woman was created to be a helper, fit and suitable for man, specifically her husband, right? The Jewish word for helper is Ezer, E-Z-E-R, which means to provide support for someone who needs help. In this case, to come to his aid, her husband's aid, to be his helper. She is his helpmeet. She is his support system. To assist and encourage, to rescue and to be strong, emotionally supportive. We know that for the most part, men are physically stronger than women, but women are emotionally stronger than men. We were created in that manner. Let's look at 1 Timothy 5, verse 8. It says, if anyone doesn't provide or care for his own relatives, especially his immediate family, he has denied the Christian faith and is worse than an unbeliever. I'm going to read that again. If anyone, 1 Timothy 5 verse 8 says, if anyone doesn't provide care for his, not hers, his own relatives, especially his, not her, immediate family, he, not she, has denied the Christian faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So 1 Timothy 5 verse 8 is making it very clear that the husband is required to provide and take care of his family, his wife, his children. However, there are always exceptions to the norm, right? There's always exception to the norm. So when I say to the norm, things that are the normal way of doing things, the normal practices. Let's look at the Proverbs 31 woman. We're going to be looking at her and some of the women I'm going to be speaking about today. These are some exceptions to the norm, to what is normal during that time. So the Proverbs 31 woman, and some of the women I'm going to be talking about today, speaking about today, challenged the patriarchal norms of their time. Yes, they did. They challenged the patriarchal norm of their time. They weren't operating like the average women. No, they were not. Let's continue on our topic for today. Just wanted to clarify that. The topic for today, a woman is packaged uniquely based on the calling on her life. Let's look at some uniquely packaged women in the Bible. Queen Esther. She was beautiful. She was obedient. She was courageous. She was wise. She was strategic. She was charming. She was influential. Queen Esther. So therefore, she was uniquely packaged for her assignment. Yes, she was. Her assignment was she gained favor with the king and became the queen, his queen, and saved the Jewish people from extermination. Right? Queen Esther was packaged in such a way, and you know, the king in their palace, they they want the beautiful women, and the charming ladies, and they're the pleasing to the eyes, right? And Queen Esther was pleasing to the eyes, right? Besides being pleasing to the eyes, she was courageous, she was wise, she was strategic, and she was influential. She was able to influence the king. She accomplished her calling, and she saved the Jewish people from death, right? That was a huge calling that Queen Esther upheld and saw through. So when I say that a woman is uniquely, packaged based on the calling on her life, that is absolutely correct. We're all different in so many ways because what God has in store for each and every one of his children, particularly we're talking about women today, we are designed in different ways, uniquely. There's no one woman like the next. Each of us are uniquely packaged by God himself for the purpose and the calling on our lives. That is correct. So if we were to continue with this, the next person I would like to look at in the Bible, because I think she's absolutely amazing, is Deborah. Yes, Deborah. She was the only, did you hear me? Only woman in the Bible, only one in the Bible that we know of. There's no other in the Bible that held the position of a judge in the book of Judges. No other woman. She was the first and only woman to hold that position as a judge. Now think about it. In those days, women didn't hold those positions. No, not at all. This is a unique situation that we're talking about. So as a judge, Deborah settled disputes. She was a mediator, a decision maker for the Israelites. She was a prominent prophetess. So, whatever she heard from God, she communicated to the people. She was a military leader of Israel. Here we go again. This is not the normal position of women in her time, right? Judge, military leader, mediator, disputes, settles disputes. This is quite significant. And I think when we're reading the story of these exceptional women in the Bible, we need to recognize that these are exceptional women, right? It was not the norm in those times. And I need for us to understand that. She was instrumental in leading Israel to victory against the Canaanites. That was her calling. Ladies, that was her calling. So Deborah, we can see that she was uniquely equipped for her calling. Yes, she was. And Deborah's story challenges the patriarchal norms of her time. Can you see that? Yes. That was not the normal thing for a woman to do, and to serve in that capacity. That was not the norm, right? And so Deborah is actually one of my favorite characters in the Bible, again, because of the position she held. I usually like to see women in, leadership type positions. I find them to be very inspiring, right? And someone to look up to as a woman myself, right? To see that we can do beyond what the norm is, and so I absolutely adore Deborah. She's one of my favorite female characters in the Bible. Let's move on to another. Jael. She was the wife of Heber the Kenite. Jael was also a military leader. Jael took a mallet and drove a tent peg through Sisera's head into the ground while he was sleeping, killing him instantly. Wow. Sisera was a Canaanite general who was fleeing from the battle against the Israelites and sought refuge in the wrong tent, in Jael's tent. What did Jael do? Jael offered him hospitality. Welcome, right? Offered him hospitality. You know what that means? Making him comfortable, feeding him whatever it was, to be hospitable to her guest, which was an enemy, in her tent. So she offered him hospitality and then brutally killed him while he slept. When I say, a woman is packaged uniquely based on the calling on her life, in Jael's case, most women would not have the courage to do what Jael did. No, not at all. When you really think about it, the The courage to take a mallet and drive a tent peg through someone's head into the ground. That is, whew, very serious. That requires bravery, courage, strength. She was definitely strategic in how she was going to destroy this enemy of Israel. She was a woman of faith. She was also packaged uniquely for the calling and the purpose on her life. Yes, she was. There are many others in the Bible. Let's not forget Rahab. We can even talk about Mary, the mother of Christ. She was packaged uniquely as well. Rahab was packaged uniquely as well. And there's so many other uniquely designed women by God for his will and his purpose in their life. There's so many besides biblical today in today's society, right? You are listening to the Voice of Reason. My name is Chaplain Ingrid Gentles, and I am your host for today. Our topic is a woman is packaged uniquely based on the calling of her life. So, in continuation of the fact that, I'm talking about biblical examples here of how, these women were packaged uniquely to accomplish the will of God in their life for the kingdom of God. While we may not be a Deborah, Jael, all that stuff, Esther, we also have been packaged. I have been packaged. All the children of God have been packaged, but we're talking about women today. All the women of God are packaged uniquely. So my challenge to you as a woman today, not biblically, we've looked at some biblical examples. There are great examples to remind us my challenge to you as a woman today is to assess your gifts, your passion, and your God-given attributes to help identify your purpose in the kingdom of God. Yes. Assess yourself. Assess your giftings. If you're not sure what they are, ask others around you what they see in you, what they see that you are good at. Speak to your pastor, speak to your leaders, speak to your family members, speak to your friends. Ask them what they see in you if you are unable to see that in yourself. That's a start. Because a lot of us, men and women, but I'm focusing on women today, still are not clear on what our calling is with respect to the kingdom, our purpose. Why are you here? Why am I here? What is your purpose? What is my purpose? What is our purpose? We need to know what our purpose is. We need to stop looking at others or comparing ourselves to someone else. Not everyone can be a Queen Esther, a Deborah, a Jael. Not everyone can be those individuals, and we're not all called to be those individuals. That would make no sense when you think about it. The kingdom today needs intercessors. I'm not talking about someone that prays occasionally. I'm talking about someone that lives their life daily interceding for others, because that is the passion that is in their heart, because the Lord placed that there for a reason, right? So we need true intercessors, true worshipers, teachers, preachers, hospitality workers, mentors, encouragers, disciples, and the list goes on and on and on. You know, we need to remember not everyone is called to have a public platform, but everyone is called to fulfill their calling through serving in whatever capacity the Lord has equipped you to serve. Do you get that? So many of us are sitting on our calling and our purpose. And can I tell you something? The enemy loves that. He absolutely loves that. And he will continue to do everything to distract us from fulfilling our purpose, our divine purpose and calling on this earth. He will do any and everything to distract us from that. So it is imperative, it is so important, ladies. If you are unaware, you're not sure, you're confused, some of us are confused, we don't know what we're called to do, that's not unusual. But here's an opportunity for you now to say, hey, you know what? I don't know, I'm not sure. So let me just ask some people. Let me ask my pastor. Let me ask my leaders. Let me ask my spouse. Let me ask my children. Let me ask my friends. If that is the nature of your life. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see that would be my gift? What would you see that I can use to help further the kingdom of God? You will get the feedback. Take note of what people are telling you. Start looking into that. Start now assessing yourself. And then step out in faith and start utilizing some of the giftings that the feedback that you're getting from your loved ones, you know, your leaders, your pastor, your friends, whoever. You know, step out in faith. You may be uncomfortable. You may be called to be a prophet, for heaven's sakes, but you may be afraid to open your mouth and say something because you're afraid that you may look foolish, or you may be afraid that maybe you're not, you know, you're not hearing from God, and you start questioning yourself, and therefore you sit quietly. And that's an example when the Spirit of God is asking you to open your mouth and speak out what needs to be said to the congregation. or to the people or to whatever situation that you are in. Right? So fear is a huge part of why we fail to step into our calling. Fear of failure, fear of looking foolish. And all of that is called what? Pride. Pride. So we put our pride before God. We put our pride before our calling and our purpose. Right? So we need to move fear aside. We need to step into faith and purpose and start walking in that gifting that people see in you. Start walking into that. Be unique. You are unique. There is no two people alike. Start walking into our purpose. Exercise your giftings. Use it to bombard the kingdom of hell. Use it to accomplish the will of God for his kingdom here on earth. You're called. You are called. Won't you start your journey of finding yours, finding your purpose, finding your calling to help further the kingdom of God? Won't you do that? Won't you start that today? Because, ladies, you are needed. Your skills, your passion, your uniqueness, you're needed. Everyone fits in a piece of the puzzle. Everyone has a part to play. We're not here just to waste time. I'm always hoping that this discussion will kickstart someone who has been sitting on the fence, uncertain, unsure of what she is called to do in the kingdom of God. Utilize the feedbacks that you get from your loved ones, from the people around you. Use it if you're unsure. Step out in faith, not fear. Because the kingdom of God is moving and you need to be involved. Thank you for listening to the Voice of Reason. Once again, my name is Chaplain Ingrid Gentles, and I am your host for today. A woman, remember, is packaged uniquely based on the calling upon her life. Thank you for tuning in. Take care once again, and bye-bye.
In a world filled with noise and uncertainty, Tune into the Voice of Reason with Chaplain Ingrid Gentles every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for uplifting conversations, inspiring stories, and biblical insights that will empower you to navigate life challenges with faith and confidence, where faith meets reality. Join the conversation on HGG Radio, live on YouTube, and social media. Don't miss it.